Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golden Llama Show. We have Natasha Black with us today, who is a healer, a channeler, and spiritual guide. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So let's dive deep from the first question to set the tone for the whole conversation. You lead the mystery schools that have a rich history shrouded in secrecy and mysticism. Can you share what inspired you to create the New Earth Mystery School and how it connects with the ancient traditions?
So I had the idea come to me. So on my journey, I have explored ancient history, ancient folklore, all of these kinds of things to figure out and understand what this is, who we are, why we're here. And so a lot of the teachings and a lot of the books and things that I've explored have led back to ancient traditions and stories and what information did they know back then that we don't know now about ourselves. So I really loved the idea of diving deep into the mysteries to kind of help humanity unlock what's already within them. So yeah, the idea just came to me that I wanted to create my own mystery school. And I know there's many out there and it's great. It's really a platform for me to learn, of course, but also share what I've learned along the way about who I am, why I'm here, what this is. And so that's really my motivation, is just to help others understand more about who they are truly. They were very connected to themselves. They were connected to their own technology within, and there's so many mysteries of artifacts and huge structures, that we are yet to discover and really get to the bottom of what that was and why it's there. So as I uncover more mysteries, I upload it into this membership group that I have. And it's just really taking people along the journey that I've been on, to understand more of who I am. And, with anything, I really always encourage people to search for themselves. Whatever I say, please go and research and do your own due diligence about what you feel is true. I think that's really important right now for us to not just take what one person says as fact. We have to go on the journey to explore and understand ourselves. And I think that's a very empowering thing, and it's needed at the moment. And it's healthy. So yeah, that's what inspired me to create the mystery school.
Can you give us a glimpse of what you have found through those journeys of studying the ancient civilizations and the holy texts?
Basically, I think the biggest overarching thing is that we are creators of our own reality. How we perceive things, what we think about things really creates our reality. What I've learned as well is that everything comes back to understanding how energy works, understanding how the universe works, but then also I've explored lots of different traditions and cultures and gone into traditional healing of those cultures. And there's the same themes that come through. It's really tapping into that heightened frequency of love. How can we love each other every day? And in everything that I teach and do, I want to bring it back to that. How can it be practical in our daily life? It's not just going into these topics because it's, I don't know, maybe popular or it sounds fun. There is a purpose to this. It's teaching us how to live in the world, but not of it, and that those teachings have come through. And even so, I grew up as a Christian, and I had many explorations deconstructing Christianity for me. I'm not saying that it's wrong for anyone else, because I think that you can find truth in many forms. But for me, there were many inconsistencies with what I was taught and what I felt to be true. And things just didn't make sense to me. So I've been on this huge journey just to uncover, like, what is it? Yeah, what is this? Why are we here? And understanding the connection of God or source or the universe, whatever you want to label that as. So yeah, it's been a fun journey to really uncover, what these mysteries can teach us. And there's so much more. There's a lifetime of learning of, what these mysteries are and how it can serve us. And I think that we keep unlocking more of those mysteries as we, as humanity, keep up leveling and understanding more about ourselves. It's like the information comes to us when we're ready. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. So, yeah.
That's true. All flowers bloom in due time,
Mm.
and nature never rushes. Yet
Mm-hmm.
everything is done on time.
Yes.
You yourself describe yourself as a modern Sha woman, priestess, and quantum Akashic healer. How do these roles influence the teachings and practices within your mystery school?
Really good question. And before I begin this answer, it's always been a struggle on my spiritual journey to have labels. I don't like them. If it was up to me, I would not have them. And maybe I'm still on a journey to figuring that out, but it would be my choice not to use them. I use them so that people can find me and know what I do, and it's like a lighthouse. That's how I see it. So these roles and these archetypes that I have used as a label helps within the mystery school to show people how they can themselves be a bridge of earth and ether. So just bridging it together. These archetypes that I resonate with and I've learned from ancient traditions and history has taught me how to access more of what's inside me. So really showing that to the guests inside the mystery school is, how can you yourself be a bridge? How can you have this divine connection, still be on earth, but have this connection at the same time? So it's a very, this same overarching theme is that these archetypes just are a bridge between different realms. And that's it. That's what I like to kind of bring through and show people, that you can have connections in more ways than others. Some people will not resonate with those terms. And that's totally okay. It's really about the energy and the frequency of these archetypes.
So it seems you're using those labels as signposts for others, so you can lead them on this journey called life. And I had this thought while you're mentioning that one lifetime is not enough to know the secrets. And I had this aha moment because I was also on this rat race to learn all the secrets, all the modalities. And guess what? Once I learned a new modality, there was a new modality inside to be learned. And it was a never ending story. And then I recall something that I read many times in Tao Te Ching, that master never learns, yet he knows everything because he exists in a different mind frame or state of the mind, that
Mhm.
everything is accessible to him. I believe that nowadays it's called quantum, but back in the day it was called Vuci primordial force. It was something that the Taoists have found thousands of years ago, and many sacred philosophies and religions also have stumbled to it, but kept hidden in the text to ensure that the person that finds them is ready to utilize them without having the repercussions of building the roof of a house for the soul without having foundation, which would lead to the roof falling on your head in the least expecting moment. The idea of unlocking one true power and becoming one's own healer is central to your philosophy. What are some of the most transformative practices you teach that help individuals achieve this?
Yeah, great question again. So, what I like to do is to help people understand energy. We talk about it, we do exercises, we do healing sessions where I guide them into their own structures to see and to feel and to understand what that is. So, I'm not just speaking about things, we go into these practices of working with energy so that they know and feel what it's like. Also, understanding the body. I think a lot of spiritual teachings are talking about exiting the body, whether it's plant medicine, whether it's a way that's framed, it's like all about how can we escape this reality, this physical structure. But we actually don't even know fully how to realize this in the correct way. So, I'm learning still, of course, myself, but I love talking about that because our body is a vessel and it's a vessel of communication. It's a tool. And so I love expressing this and showing this community that this isn't something to escape from. It's actually something to learn how to use. And that's something that so many ancient cults, they understood that. It wasn't this, yep, we're escaping to 5D or, going on a plant medicine journey and escaping what we need to actually look at within. Self-regulation is a big thing for me as well, and deep presence. So a lot of the time we might just be in mid-session and we'll just pause. It's just like just taking a breath, understanding what it feels like to be in deep presence, whether you're meditating or you're not. I think that's something that we all really need to learn. It's part of the self-mastery journey is how can you just be with yourself? How can you be with everyone? How can you even listen to your neighbor or someone that you're speaking to? Actually, that's quite a underused skill, is listening. There's a lot of people that want to just express their opinions or just, listen to know when it's their turn to speak. And I think a lot of us can learn from each other. This is the journey that I believe that we're all here to teach each other, and we're all here to learn from each other as well. So yeah, these are the practices generally that I like to take people through. But really, I also love to assist people in trying to think differently, think outside the box and think for themselves. That is extremely important. So yeah, they're some of the practices that I use to help people, which has really helped myself. I only take people through the journey that I've been on myself. So
I loved what you said about the body. In many old practices like yoga or Shaolin Kung Fu, when they initiate a student, they always start with the body, then they move to breath work. And actually, when a student has mastered those layers, they move to meditation, literally brick by brick, building a beautiful castle for the soul to live. And awareness, everybody talks about awareness because it's so crucial and important. We've all been there speaking to a teenager who wasn't really there with his thoughts, thinking about something else. And it was super duper annoying. In fact, to a degree, I believe that the only thing you can give to someone is his awareness, and that is the best gift you can give.
Yes.
You also do explore several different topics, such as alchemy, healing, and intuition. So, how can one apply those ancient teachings to the modern world that is constantly changing? And what benefits do they bring to your students today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that you just said things are constantly changing, people are very uncomfortable in that. They don't understand what that feels like to just go with the flow or to move with these energies. A lot of the alchemy that I teach is how do we turn situations, or how do we turn our own trials into triumphs? How do we alchemize energy? How do we alchemize thoughts and perceptions? And it's really all about how can we come within to be okay no matter what happens outside. We've still got years to go, and this is not a fear thing. It's just it's pretty obvious to me that we've still got years of rebuilding structures and rebuilding how things are going to work. And there's going to be more crumbling of that, and it can be upsetting. So what I'm finding is that a lot of people feel very unstable in this space because we're looking outside for the government to change, for aliens to come save us, for Jesus to come, like whatever it is. So it's how can we come within and be the master alchemist so that whatever happens around us, we can move through it more gracefully. And I'm not saying that it's all love and light, but I'm saying that, we can master these things and we can be at a place where things don't bother. And of course, there's upsetting things that happen, and I understand people's journeys, but it is the more you practice it, the less it affects you, the less you react, so it's really actually learning a more grounded response in what happens in our daily world. And the noticings from the mystery school is people are able to process information externally a lot easier. They're able to see, oh, okay, is there another side to this? Or what is the higher perspective of this? Is there another perspective to this? So it's helping people to understand that what you see, whether it's mainstream media or alternative media, this is just an example, there's multiple sources of information just coming at us, telling us what to think and how to feel. So it is helping them to regulate the self, to really perceive things in a different way, and to not get so, what's the word? I'm trying to think of it, and stuck. So yeah, this is what I'm noticing. It is helping, and I know that it definitely helped me by doing the things that I'm teaching. So yeah, it's nice to see that, it's nice to know that you can help people, and of course, we're all teachers and we're all students, and that's it.
That resonates very deeply with me. The underlying basis of why I do podcast is also because when there is a person that I do not agree with that person point of view, and if I'm able to have no emotional response within, that means I'm growing as a human being. So by exposing to external stimulus, I'm able to identify internal, what's within. And what you said about being bombarded by information from every direction is also very true. Recently, I read a study that we are forced to process 74 gigabytes of information each day. It is like there would be a person next to your ear constantly talking, to the point that you're not able to process those information and you lose the ability to know what's real and know what's fake.
Yeah.
So we are being lost like a person that's on a draft lost in the ocean with no escape. Realizing that we are our own escape is the first step. And
Mhm.
I know you do have some tools to ensure people are being found and are on their path on which they should be. You regularly channel messages and quantum healing sessions as a part of your offerings. Can you explain how this session work and what participants typically experience?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I just want to go back to what you said about discernment, because that's something that I forgot to mention, which I'm speaking about a lot now. Discernment is so important for us to get to know how to process information, but to remove ourselves from distraction. I keep getting that message for me, for everyone: remove distraction. We need to get out to nature more and, do the things that just quiet down a bit. So I really just wanted to mention that because it is important. So with regards to your question, quantum healing sessions, they're always different, but how I like to run them is, and I'll talk about the channeling as well because it kind of works in the same. I'm really here as a vessel of energy, a vessel of communication. And one day, I don't believe it's going to be called channeling. I don't believe it's going to be a thing. I think it's just we're in a process of learning how to access the field, the quantum field, and the energy. So that's how I channel, is just bringing information through from the field, like, even Einstein did. Quantum healing sessions, I love to show people how they can heal themselves. So I take them through visualization, to heal themselves. I mean, I know that someone can come to a healing session with me and nothing will happen if they don't have the belief, if they don't access that and activate it within themselves. They are really the one that's doing the healing work. So it's showing people how they can utilize their own body, their own tools within, to access that healing state. I'm really just facilitating a space so that they can know the self and know how to heal themselves. And after every session, I say, this is why I do it this way, so that you can go home and know and remember what we did in this session, and you can go in and access that information and activate that healing and command that healing in your own body. As far as, I'd started with Reiki, and that was great to help me learn how to use energy. It's all useful. But quantum healing is accessing energy no matter where you are. So I can still facilitate a healing session via Zoom. And the reason I can do that is because there is no limit to where we can access energy. So in quantum physics, one particle here can have an intention of connecting to another particle, for example, on the other side of the world. And there's been many studies to show that it's fact. Science has proven that. So we are not limited to location. And so, we're really just accessing energy. And so that's kind of how it works for me.
I like to say that belief, I actually call it faith, is amplifier of any modality that is used.
Mhm.
In fact, if faith is strong enough, there is no need for modality because faith has power to move the mountains. And I also like your concept of giving the space. It seems that your intention is not to interfere with the process and allow that force to work through you and do what is needed to be done. So let me ask you, as a person that also works with energy, how do you ensure that you're not interfering with the process?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think back to the start of my journey where I learned energy healing, or I learned even coaching, the start of my journey of wanting to help people. And I think, and I cringe a little bit to the fact that I would give unsolicited advice or want to help people. You know, it always came from a good place, but I was unaware that that is an interference. If someone is coming to you, that is their permission slip. But even still, if someone's coming to me, I still ask for their permission to do what I'm going to do. Because if I don't have permission from them, the healing isn't going to be effective for them because they haven't given that themselves. We can only help them with whatever they're willing to, the lengths that they're willing to go to and what they're willing to put on the line or give away. So trying to remember your question again about
Not interfering with the
not
process.
interfering. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very, very cautious of that. I also use my intuition. If I feel that someone is not receptive to something, or I'm working with the feeling of that, my intuition, I won't mention things, or I ask them permission. This is something that I received. Do you mind if I share? So I'm always getting permission from them throughout the whole session. Sometimes I feel like I don't need it throughout the whole session if I've spoken about what we're doing and they're like, yep, I'm here to do it all. In that way, I gauge how deep they're willing to go to let go of these beliefs and concepts or their own suffering. So yeah, I am always cautious of that. And because something that I learned along my journey is that even though I know that this has helped me, that may not be someone else's journey right now. And I have no idea what their soul plan looks like. I have no idea what their journey looks like. So I cannot force myself onto anyone because I think that's what's best for them. In fact, I actually know nothing about that. It's just if they come to me, then, that's where I can help.
I think I can sign under that and provide different perspective. All flowers bloom in due time, right? So if you force a flower to bloom, it might stop being a flower. And this is something that I observed. Even like ideally, if you help that person or solve their problems for them, it is forcing a flower to bloom, and you take away the experience from them of solving it themselves. And as a consequence, it is like acting as a barbarian because you allowed your ego to interfere with the process. And there will be this energy link between you and that person. And that won't allow you to grow. Actually, that will force you to be on the person that you just helped, regardless if you had good or bad intentions. You interfere with the process. And life is not always about the end goal. In fact, life is all about experiences. So the journey is more important than the destination. And if the destination of life is death, do you really want to be the first on the finish line? I know because I made all of those mistakes and some of them had severe repercussions. Especially, I recall this one time when I had this protege and she has been struggling with a pattern that was very obvious. It was very manifesting in all of her life, but she wasn't able to see that. And I've done it unconsciously. I flicked my finger that as a consequence, spiraled her spleen energy, which is responsible for the self-esteem. So that pattern of not being enough came to her attention, but she was definitely not ready for that. And as a consequence, she started running away from herself. And as a consequence, she was just very annoying. She was very abusing. She was very bullying, but she was acting like a victim in all of those scenarios. And she just wouldn't let go. So then I learned that I always knew that all flowers bloom in the time, but Did I really know that? It seems that from one of those teachings, you can understand everything about the universe, but
Mhm.
we just lack patience. And
Mhm.
after that lesson from the universe, I'm like, okay, I was a
Mhm.
fool trying to change the world. Today, I'm a wise man changing myself. I've learned.
So I so agree with that. It's so yeah, I really agree with that. I used to have this, oh, I've got a mission to help people because I can. And
Mm,
now I'm like, no, I'm just here for whoever's ready to shift or that resonates with my energy or wants to learn because they've seen me go through it. That's when I'm here to show up. I don't have a desire to change the world. I'm just here doing what I'm doing. And, if it helps, it helps. But you're right, you're 100% right. There have been people that I have turned away from healing sessions because after the session, there's always a little bit of, I've never found the right word for this, homework. I don't like to call it homework, but I haven't found a better word for it yet. So there's embodiment practices that they have to do after the session. And there's been clients that want to come back just to get a high or a feel good, but they haven't addressed those things yet. So I have kindly refused another session until they're ready to meet that. And some of them I've never seen again, and it's okay. That's their journey to unlock, in due time. But it is important to exactly what you said. It's whenever they choose that they are ready, that's when the shift happens. It's nothing to do with me, actually.
I think what we can do is only guide other people on their journey by asking the right questions, which would cause them to be aware of who they are and where are they going. But
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you, do you really think people need a mission in life?
Need what? Sorry, a mission? No, I don't. I changed my whole perspective on that years ago. It's like, no, like I do believe we've come here for a purpose, but really we're all here for the same reason, more or less. I don't really think we need a mission, but I do think that there's things that we're here to do to help people, and that comes out naturally. Someone might feel like they want to work in aged care, someone might feel like they want to make a difference with children. It's like a natural thing that comes from their heart that they want to serve in that space. That's how I see it, really. I don't think that we need this huge thing to go by. It's just where you feel called to serve is where you feel called to serve. And today that might just be to be nice to the lady in the supermarket that is in Groundhog Day and no one says hello to her or speaks to her or asks her a question. So it's just different. It's I think it's more just an everyday thing. What are you feeling called to do and how to serve in every day? And something that I like to do is to say as a prayer or a mantra every day is like, where would you have me be? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to who? It's really just how can I serve every day? It's not just I want to be this healer. How am I embodying the healer within me in my daily life, no matter where I am? I still do cleaning work, on the side until I can not until I'm in a place where I don't have to do that anymore. But it's like, how can I serve in this space today? Because it's not about it's I don't know, I'll leave it there. But it is important for us to have this mission, I think, first of all, is just to how are we embodying and showing up every day as the best person that expresses love to each other. Love is something that I talk about a lot. It's really important for us to learn how to understand each other, have compassion for each other, and to love unconditionally. And that's something that has truly transformed my own life and helped me to perceive things in a very healthy, healing way. I've navigated many traumas and stresses and wacky beliefs just through embodying love. So, yeah.
In the end, authenticity and accepting ourselves is the highest form of love. And about having a mission, I have two contradicting thoughts. Well,
Mhm.
first of all, I think it's an ego thing and it's a restriction that we put on ourselves to feel good.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do believe that our life has been all planned before we are born. But that plan of life is for us to experience as an observer. And since it's very hard just to observe and remove yourself from the equation, we impact the life with our thoughts and emotions, changing what we should experience. And to a degree that I believe there is only one so-called movie in all of our incarnation. And once we are able to go through that movie, to go through all the things that have been planned for us, we will become either enlightened because we have beat the game, or we would connect with the source again and be one. But
Mhm.
since it's definitely not gonna be that easy, we had been given a free will to have thoughts or emotions that will interfere with the reality that we observe to the point that our thoughts and emotions co-create the reality that we observe. But or is it serving us our ego?
Well, I think it's one in the same because I think we have to go through that experience to know what the other side looks like. So it's all intertwined. It really serves a purpose. The dark or the shadow or the ego serves a purpose for us to see, oh, yeah, no, that's not really what I want. That's not really what I found truth is. It's over here. And then sometimes we go right over to this side and then, find that balance in the middle.
Balance is the key, it seems, and the ego, for many people, it seems that this is a driving force in life, literally like a driver in a car that leads us to direction that we think might be good for us. But while we think that, the soul is on the backseat crying, ignored, and the soul always knows what's best for us. We just need to listen, have an empty mind that can be filled, an open heart that can experience life to the fullest, having being properly aligned between heaven and earth. There will be
Mhm.
no buffer between the head and life. And I do believe that is why it's so important to focus on physical activities as well. So there is the right posture, the right movement, the right
Mhm.
flow of the blood and oxygen within the body. But that is down the line. And as we all know, journey starts with the first step. So, what first step would you recommend for those that are new on the journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth?
Hang on a minute. The first step. I think what comes to mind as the first step would be first to open your mind to the fact that you may not have all the information that you may not have all the information. I think we have to be extremely open-minded. We also have to be completely self-responsible and to know how we are actually causing our own suffering. So to do that, we have to be honest with ourselves and to see the shadows that we have within, the ways that we fall short. Be completely honest with that and to know, if we don't like what we see, no one needs to know about it. You can just write it in a journal and just choose differently in the next moment. And, you might have a few stumbles and falls, but you get up again. But that's something that's really helped me is to really just journal whenever you feel like it, the things that you don't like or you want to change or that you feel like isn't the highest expression of you. But it is hard. Like the first couple of times that you go through that, it's a hard thing to look at yourself. It's confronting. But that is needed for us to truly grow. We can't just be reading the books. We can't just be going to the seminars and watching Gaia or whatever. We have to embody it. And this is part of the embodiment process, is to, okay, how does this information impact me? How can I bring this through? And what needs to fall as a result of the growth? So that's something that's really transformed for me. Open-mindedness and really presence and meditation. Like you can be shown so much through presence and meditation. So many answers are within. Everything is within, but so many answers you can get clarity on, and so many things will be shown to you of the things that you need to shift. There's something I'm moving through at the moment, and I'm yet to have time to go into deep meditation about this, but there's something that I need to shift my perception on at the moment. And I know that whenever I go into that space, I get the better perspective that helps me transform and heal it. Almost immediately at this point. I've had a lot of practice at this now, which feels like it just gets quicker and quicker every time. So
Speaking on the journey, all journey starts with the first step. But what do you see as next step for New Earth Mystery School, especially when there are more and more people seeking out alternative paths to healing and personal empowerment?
yeah, I mean, the mystery school, it's not that it's very sacred what I'm teaching in there. And the people that are resonating or are drawn to the mystery school are there for a reason. They're there because of the frequency that I'm holding inside of that. This is not to say that in my mystery school, the information isn't out there, because everything is out there. You can read books and listen to people now with the information that I've got in the mystery school. And I think one day all of this information will be common knowledge. There's a spiritual, or there's a maturity, I think, to holding this information. And you have to be ready to hear the different layers that we're talking about in the mystery school. It's not just another book to consume. It's not just another thing. Very deep information that we're going into that really, truly transforms. We're not afraid of the shadow. Inside the mystery school, I don't want to be afraid of the shadow. We have to look at that. So yeah, I think in the future it's going to be common knowledge, but for someone that is ready for the next step in their spiritual journey and their path and their exploration, we explore a lot of ancient mysteries and information that can help you unlock even more empowerment and joy and expansion and even manifestations. Like the way that I have learned how to move through the world and how things just come into my lap. I'm not saying you don't take action, because you do, but the way that I move through is like all being directly learned from this information. And yeah, it's really, as I said before, a lot of the thing that I really like to teach is how to embody the information. It's not, we're just learning. It's how do we use it in our everyday life to become the master creator of the self.
Learning for the sake of learning might lead to feeling like a dog chasing its own tail.
Yep.
And I also do believe what you said is right, that sooner than later, all of this will become common knowledge to the point that it will be hidden in plain sight. And this pattern will repeat itself again. Now, for those who are eager to learn more and join your community, where can they find you and access the teachings of the New Earth Mystery School?
So people can find me on YouTube. I'm really only on there, and my mailing list. which you can find through my website, natashablack.com.au. So that's it. That's where I hang out. I used to be on other social platforms, but I'm not anymore for the sake of removing distraction. I didn't want to be a part of this. And I'm not saying it's bad. It just wasn't for me. I felt like the information that I want to put out there is not, it's certain platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok are not people that want to dive deep necessarily, or it's like fast paced information. So, anyway, it resonates with me to be on YouTube because I can speak and people are there to listen. It's not, we have to edit ourselves. So, yeah, YouTube and my website is where people can find me.
Those links are underneath the video. Thank you, Natasha, for blessing us with your being today. Thank you all for joining and listening. Stay blessed, stay healthy, and see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
That was good.